Hello, welcome back to Lady Lovestead Reads. My name is Jessica and this is my May 2025 TBR. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. It's good to see you. It is May 1st and early in the morning and I'm getting some filming in before I have to log in for work. What are some of your May reading plans? Tell me down below. If you don't know what TBR stands for, it stands for to be read. I typically read books that fall into one of two categories. On the one hand, I read books that are cozy and whimsical. On the other, I read books that are pretty dark. So if you see any books that sound interesting to you in this video, please do make sure to check your triggers. And I don't share triggers on my channel because I think that they can be spoilery. If you have any concerns, I recommend using the app Storygraph. I read from all kinds of different genres, from fantasy to romance to contemporary, literary, nonfiction, classics, horror, mystery, cozy mystery. And there's a good mix of those in this list today. That being said, I am really needing to mood read right now. I've had kind of a hectic month, which if you continue to watch, you'll see some of it in my vlog. And I'm being kind of vague about it just because I don't want to put everything out there on the internet. But yeah, April was pretty intense. It was a pretty emotionally intense month for various reasons. So part of how I cope is reading. And I have to read based on my mood because reading then becomes a catharsis. So I've been trying to stay away from assigned readings in a TBR because I just need to mood read. However, I am participating in a readathon this month, so there will be some things, at least one book that'll be like assigned reading, but it's one I've been looking forward to reading, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. And most of what you're going to see here today are possibilities for the month, and we'll just see where my mood takes me. Let's first start with Carryovers from April. Ay, ay, ay. I'm still reading this. I started it in March. But I only have like 150 pages to go. So this is Oathbound by Tracy Deonn. It's book 3 in the Legendborn cycle. It's the newest release in the series. And this is about Bree, who gets admitted early to a college and finds a secret society there with magic based around Arthurian legends. She then discovers that she has magic. It's a chosen one trope, and things go from there. I really love this series. I will hopefully finish, well, not hopefully, I am going to finish this book this month. That's my first carryover. I also have an audiobook carryover. It is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady, Hendrix. I'm about halfway through that. That is a haunted house story. It's about this sibling set, a brother and sister whose parents die. So they're trying to go through the estate and sell the house, but it is haunted. I think one of my cats just took a poop. The litter box is just right next door, and it's a stinky one. I got myself some flowers in April, so let's... much better smell. I should also mention that this was part of the Lovestead Trilogy-along for January and March. So throughout the year, we're reading trilogies. One book in the trilogy a month with a break in between each trilogy. April was technically a break month from the trilogy because I was supposed to have finished this in March. But it's a big book, and so I'm going to give myself some grace. I tend to struggle to get through big books. So good thing we had a break in April, and I'll be able to finish this here real soon in May, because the next trilogy that we're reading is a middle grade fantasy called Frostheart by Jamie Littler. And book 1 is Frostheart, and we will be reading this in May, book 2 in June, book 3 in July. This is about Ash, and Ash has a magical capability of song. and he ends up going on this grand adventure with his Yeti Tobu. If you follow Gavin from the channel Gavin Reads It All, this is his absolute favorite middle grade of all time. And I'm going to trust Gavin because I consider him to be a middle grade expert. He was a middle grade bookseller for a long time. And for quite a number of years, his channel primarily focused on middle grade. I have read this one, but it has been a while. So I'll be rereading it. And so it will count for the Trilogy-along. It'll also count for my goal to reread a book every month. Next, the Lovestead Buddy Read. Every month I pull a random book from my shelf and offer it as a buddy read in that month. And I rotate between cozier books and darker books every other month. The even-numbered books are the cozier books. The odd-numbered months are the darker books. So May being an odd-numbered month, we have a darker, harder-hitting book, Acts of Desperation by Nolan. Nolan is an Irish writer, and this is a story about obsession. And apparently this woman is obsessed with someone she meets, and it's a harder hitting literary fiction, kind of in the subgenre of woman versus the void or unhinged woman fiction. I've been wanting to read it for ages. I also need to read last month's. So last month's buddy read, The Teller of Small Fortunes. This is a cozy fantasy, and it is about a traveler who is a fortune teller. This will fit the readathon, which I'll talk about here in a second. I just wasn't in the mood. In April. In April, I had to really mood read, and I just was not in the mood for this. And I always say on my channel that all the buddy reads and stuff, you do it at your own pace. I leave the discussion on my Discord up for an entire year. So if you can't get to it for 6 months from now, the discussion will still be there and you can pop in at any time and discuss the book as long as it's within a year. So as long as I read this before next April, I'm good. That being said, I do have a Discord. It's called the Lovestead. It's a cottage farmhouse theme and has different rooms where we discuss different things like the kitchen, the arts and crafts studio, the gym, the barn with critters, right? It's a fun time. Everybody in there is so wonderful and loving and supportive. I just love the community. And we do have some events here coming up in May. So May will actually be my seasonal readathon. And there is a bingo card. Very easy to do. So the prompts for it are: 1 is a freebie, you can read any book. 2, a book with yellow on the cover, and if you want to stick a yellow poster on a blue book, that counts, right? Make it work for you. I don't care how you make it work. This really is just meant to be fun, and a fun way to just be a part of the community. 3, do a cozy activity. Anything that feels cozy to you. Drink tea, work in your garden, snuggle a pet. And then 4, eat your favorite dessert. I know that's going to be really hard to do this. It's going to be really hard to eat your favorite dessert, but I want you to try, okay? Basically, this is a 24 and 48 readathon, and a 24 and 48 is when you try to read for 24 hours within a 48-hour span. It's kind of an adjustment to a 24-hour readathon where you just read all night long. I like to sleep. So I do 24 hours and 48 hours, which is basically like 12 hours of reading for 2 days. Also, so hard, so torturous, I know. So pick any 48 hours that you want in the month of May and do the little readathon. And then share about it in the Discord. We are continuing our watch along of the Goodwitch, which we started in February. So here in May, we will be watching season 4. We're at about the halfway point because there's 7 seasons in the show. So season 4 here in May. And then I do host Saturday sprints once a month on a Saturday. Basically, we start at noon-ish, unless I'm running late. But we start at noon Central Standard Time and go all day long into the evening and do sprints on the Discord. If you like to sprint and you're nervous about doing a sprint on like a YouTube live or anything like that, doing a sprint in a Discord is really nice because it's low pressure. Our Saturday sprints in May will be Saturday, May 10th. All right, let's chat about this readathon that I decided to join. So it's called Mysteries and Mayhem or something like that. And it has several different hosts. I don't know the names of them all off the top of my head, but I will list them in the description box. I know Tiffany from Beachbum Bookworm is one, simply because I've known Tiffany for years. The others are new to me, which is exciting. I love meeting new people. It's a team-based readathon, so you join a team. I am on team Lassie, and I think Maddie is our fearless leader. And there's a bingo board or like prompts that you have to do. There's a lot of rules in this. There's a lot of rules, and I'm not keeping them all straight in my head at all. But I do know these things. I know we have a group read, which is Murder by Cheesecake. And this is one, if you watched my April new releases video, it's one that I really want to get to. So this is a Golden Girls themed cozy mystery. So I'm definitely going to try this. It is available on Hoopla, at least through my library. And then on Team Lassie, we are encouraged to read books with blue covers. So the good news is, bam, 2 blue covers. One of the prompts is also to read a host favorite, and it can be any of the hosts. And several of the hosts had this one on their list, and it is also a blue cover. And it's one that I've been wanting to read. I've been trying to get through backlist fantasy. You all know I'm going on a Cassandra Clare journey, a Game of Thrones journey, and now I'm ready to start my Sarah J. Maas journey with Throne of Glass. This is a YA fantasy, and I feel like probably most of you already know what it's about, but it says, in a land without magic, an assassin is summoned to a castle. She has no love for the vicious king who rules from his throne of glass. Ah, throne of glass. But she has not come to tell him, or to, there's tape over the description, so I'm not really sure what some of these words actually say. She has come to win her freedom. If she defeats 23 murderers, thieves, and warriors in a competition, she will be released from prison to serve as the king's champion. That sounds like a million other YA fantasies, but I really want to get through some backlist things so that I can get caught up on my foundation of fantasy reading. I feel like if you're a fantasy reader, you've got to have like the foundation, right, of all the backlist stuff. And maybe that's just me and my background coming from education, having to be taught the canon of classic works. I feel like you've got to be versed in the canon of fantasy, and I think this is in the canon. Is that everything? No, there's one more. I checked this out from the library last month. I'm trying to get into historical fiction, kind of dipping my toes in. It's not a genre that I've loved before, but I'm trying it out to see if there's different authors I liked. I read a historical fiction by Natasha Lester in January, thinking it was a thriller, and it was actually historical fiction, but I ended up really liking it a lot. And her historical fictions always deal with something French related, fashion related, and family saga related. And I think there is some overlap with characters in all of her books too, like they're all kind of in the same universe. So I wanted to read more from her. My library unfortunately doesn't have any other books by her except for the audiobook that I read and this one. So this is The Paris Secret. It says, England, 1939, the Penrose sisters couldn't be more different. Skye is a daring and brash pilot, and Liberty the one to defy her at every turn. Even if women aren't allowed in the Royal Air Force, Skye is determined to help the war effort. She's thrilled when it reunites her with her childhood soulmate, Nicholas. She is less thrilled to learn Nicholas is now engaged to an enigmatic French woman named Margot Jourdan. Paris, 1947, designer Christian Dior, there's the fashion element, unveils his glamorous first collection to a world weary of war and grief. And then present day, fashion conservator Kat Jourdan, oh, so Kat must be a descendant of Margot Jourdan, discovers a priceless collection of Dior gowns in her grandmother's vacant cottage. Whoa, what a find. Whew, sign me up for that. Jeez Louise. So that's the basic premise of this. It sounds really similar to the other one I read, which was The Disappearance of Astrid Picard, which traced 3 timelines, and they were all involved in fashion, and they were all like descendants of a particular family. So it sounds similar to that, which is exciting because I love that one. All right, there you have it. Reading plans. Keep in mind this is more a pile of possibilities than anything, but it's a pretty gorgeous pile. I'm not gonna lie. What are your plans for May? Let me know down below. Are you participating in the Mystery Mayhem readathon? What team are you on? Let me know. If you just want to leave me an emoji to let me know that you're here, leave me any kind of blue emoji, like a blue heart, blue cloud, whatever you want. And until next time, make sure that you continue to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye!